too. It's all right. That is super bright. I'm alone here in the darkness.
We're here.
Oh, good. Oh, hey. So I racked my brain all month, and I didn't think I had a story tonight. And then something super exciting happened to me on March 1st. Oh, did I mess it up? Are you, okay, we're back. So on the morning of March 1st, it was a Friday, my daughter called me at about 8:15 from school, crying and saying her iPhone had been stolen. That her friend Bravante was the last person to see it in the seat next to her in homeroom, and that she turned around for a second to talk to her friend, and then when she turned back, it was gone. And he said, I don't know what happened to it, I didn't have it. And so she promptly created a full-blown alert in the classroom and made, and the teacher was like, well, you're not supposed to have your phone in class, so there's really nothing we can do. So she runs to the office, which is where she called me from, and she already had them, like she filed a theft report, and then like during the day, that morning, she had patted down half the class on her own. And nobody had, seen it or found it, and Bravante had also been, patted down, and, he didn't have it. So, around 3 o'clock, she calls me and she's like, how are we going to replace this? Because I can't be without it. I mean, she is 16 and she's over there and she's been on it the whole night, even here. And she was like, what are we going to do? And I was like, I don't know, it's like $200 to replace. And I called AT&T. I was on them for the half hour trying to figure out how to replace this phone for $1. If you have an upgrade, if you don't, it's $300. And she has one, but not till April. That's not important. What's important is that around 4:30, her friend Nicholas called me. Let me go back. Just to tell you, if you have AT&T, they have something for teenagers where you can turn on a location tracking device. It's not the Find My iPhone. It's something for the SIM card. I had installed this when she was 12 because she was never where she said she was going to be, ever. And so she would go out and say, I'm going to be here, and then I would look 20 minutes later and be like, why are you not at the movies? Because this says you're on Silverside Road, and that's not the movie theater. And she would go, oh, well, I called her, Emily, like 7 times, not where you were supposed to be. So, and she is better about that now, but I still leave it on. So, but you can only do it when the phone is on, which she knows now. But then she didn't know that. So the phone was off all day. So all day I was trying to track the phone, couldn't track the phone. And then around 4:30, her friend Nicholas calls me on the phone. And he goes, Bravante has the phone. And I was like, how do you know? And he goes, because I texted Emily and said, what's up? And he wrote back, what's up? It's Bravante. And he goes, and I don't know why he thought I wouldn't tell you, because we're like best friends. And I was like, I don't know. So around this time, this is around 4:30, which is around the time that my ex-husband, who I should add now is an ex-pro WWF wrestler, was there to pick up my son. Emily was with her boyfriend. She was heartbroken and therefore needed to be consoled. So she was with her boyfriend and really inconsolable and upset and depressed, and how teenage girls are, just miserable all the time anyway. And so Rob comes over right when I get this phone call. The dad's name is Rob and my husband is Scott. So I turn on the location track, because now I know that since he's texting Nicholas, I know the phone's on. And I can basically track it to about a 6-house radius. And my husband and my ex-husband are, chit-chatting about this or that, which is always fun for me. And so I was like, hey guys, the phone is on. I tracked the phone, look. And I show them on my iPhone that I had tracked it to a specific location. And they start talking about what to do with it. And I'm like, listen, if he figures out and turns it off, we're gonna miss it. Let's get in the car and let's go get it. Right? So they're like, cool, we're down. And we all get in the car. We get in my husband's car. It's me and my husband, and then her father and her brother in the back seat. And we're in an Audi A8, and we're going to the ghetto. We're all going to the ghetto, and we're driving as fast as possible, because I know, if we miss him and he leaves that location, we'll have to drive all around Wilmington to find the phone. So as we're driving over there, it's so funny because I'm the only woman in the car, and the other 3 men are staring out the window like this. Like, you know, they're like all their superheroes in their own head, probably all just imagining what kind of pummeling they're going to give this kid. You know, because we've got, you know, the Jew next to me, and then the WWF wrestler, and then the half Jew, half wrestler, my son, in the back. They're all, I'm sure my husband's thinking about suing their parents or whatever, and the rest of them thinking about beating them up. So anyway, so it's quiet, and then my ex-husband goes, "We need theme music." So Scott turns on the Scorpions, and now we're driving along and listening to dun 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 as we're driving across. And I just cannot help laughing because it's just all so like Green Lantern or something. I don't know. So it takes about 15 minutes to get there, and then we get there, and like I said, it was only tracked to the 6. You know, it's kind of like a Google map. You can only get so specific. So I realized once we get to the point that one of those buildings is an apartment complex, right? So I'm like, oh, how is this going to work? So I'm like, well, we should know what he looks like. So I call Nicholas, and I'm like, Nicholas, what's his last name? And he tells me, and so I pull up his Facebook profile on my iPhone so I can see it. So now I've tracked the kid there. Now I'm going to see what he looks like. But of course, nobody around looks like this kid. Why would he just be outside waiting for me? Who would do that? So all we see are really some older people, and we're like, I don't know what to do. What are we going to do? So I'm like, well, we can ask them if they know this kid. And Scott was like, nah, forget it. We'll just go. And we go into the parking lot of the apartment complex, turn around, start walking or driving out. And as we're driving out, I see a kid in like a Steelers jacket from behind. And I was like, huh. So he was like, oh, that's probably him. So he drives around, and we pull up to him, and of course Rob, who's the wrestler, he gets out of the car and goes right up to the kid's face, and he's like, "Are you Bravante?" And he goes, "No, but I know him." And so I was like, "Do you live here?" He goes, "Yeah, but a lot of people live here." And now they're literally like this far apart, and her dad is kind of intimidating, but he's equally as tall, skinny of course, because he's like 16, but equally as tall. And he goes, and here I've got the kid's picture right here. So I'm like, oh, so you're not this kid right here? And he was like, a lot of people live here. I know that kid. And so Rob was like, you stole my daughter's iPhone, and I want it back now. And he, without missing a beat, was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know about Emily's phone. Knew exactly whose phone it was. I don't know nothing about Emily's phone. I don't know Emily. I don't know anything about Emily. And just then we see a bigger version of Bravante come out of the apartment complex, looking very, so my husband, who's still in the car, because he's smart, was roll down the window, and he goes, is that Bravante? And he goes, yeah, why? And I was like, because he stole my daughter's phone. And so his father goes right up to him and goes, why are you talking to adults like that? Why are you in that man's face? And so he was like, and so I said, look, I tracked the phone here. I have the text that says, what's up, it's Bravante. And I can tell that he's been reading texts for the last 20 minutes because I was texting just to make sure it was on. So I'd go, hello, can you hear me? Please answer the phone. And I was calling it just so I could have proof that, because it gives like a little red receipt. So his father's like, excuse us for a second, and pulls Bravante behind like a U-Haul, and you hear like some cursing, and you hear like some, but Dad, whatever. And then like 5 minutes later, he comes out, hands me the phone. He's like, here you go. And I was like, thank you. And then the kid walked away, and this is kind of a sad part of the story, but like the dad, he had like a couple tears rolling down his face a little bit. He's like, please don't press charges because he's already in trouble with the law and everything, and I'd appreciate it if you not get him in further trouble. And I was like, well, we just wanted to get her phone back because we know she'll be happy about that. So then my husband and I walk over to the kid, and first thing he says when he sees me is, please don't tell Emily I had her phone. Please don't tell her I had her phone because I just don't want her to know. Just tell her I got it from my friend, my man's, he said. Tell her I got it from my man's, and I don't have her phone. So we get the phone, we get in the car, and I said, all right, well, I'm sure she knows already, but that's fine. We get in the car, and I call her, and of course, Emily, who is like a badass kind of in her own right, she goes, who the has my phone? I'm calling her from her own phone, and that's how she answers. Who the has my phone? And I was like, it's your mother. And she goes, am I in trouble? I was like, no. She said, how'd you get my phone? And I was like, I told just like I told you. And then I said, the last part I can't get is that Bravante was like, please don't tell Emily you have the phone. She goes, that's because I told him if I found out he had it, I would break his fucking nose. And he's like much bigger than her. Anyway, so I was like, she is something. She must have patted him down and scared the bejesus out of that kid. So anyway, so that's my story about evil versus genius. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Deb.
Thanks.